The reporter here.
We are now recording.
Okay.
When you're ready.
Yep.
Good evening. This is Donald Fisco, Deputy Director of the Water and Sewer Department. On behalf of Director Joseph Pizzino and Vice Chairman Scott Bishop, welcome to this scheduled City of Middletown Water Pollution Control Authority meeting. Due diligence items for the meeting. This meeting does appear on the city website, appropriately scheduled on the city calendar. This meeting is open to the public for listening through the provided phone number and access code on the posted agenda. Notice to the public. Instructions were provided to the public within the posted agenda for this evening's meeting. All public comments that were submitted to the director prior to the meeting will be read into the public record. The meeting agenda and material information package is available on the city website at www.middletownct.gov under Government, Boards and Commissions R through Z, Water Pollution Control Authority, Agendas and Minutes, and then select View Most Recent Agendas and Minutes. This meeting will be recorded and then posted to the City of Middletown website in the following location. Again, at www.middletownct.gov, click Community Videos, click Granicus, Available Archives, click Virtual Meeting Archive, the Water Pollution Control Authority meeting recording of June 2nd, 2022 at 7 p.m. Notice to the WPCA board, all speakers must identify themselves before speaking. Thank you, and I'm turning the meeting over to Vice Chairman Bishop.
Thank you. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:05. Those in attendance are myself, Vice Chairman Scott Bishop, Council Medic Representative Phil Pacina via Zoom or WebEx, Commissioner Jack Piper, Commissioner Brian Gartler via WebEx, Commissioner David Bauer. There's nobody else on that. Gene didn't sign in yet?
Not yet.
No? Okay.
He's
and
not going to
staff-
be on the meeting, Mr. Chair.
Okay, staff is Director Joe Frisino, Deputy Director Don Fisco, and Chief Engineer Brian Robillard is via WebEx. Now we'll open this for the public part of the meeting. Could you identify yourself and go for it?
I'm Barbara Westendorf. My husband and I live at 190 Hunting Hill Avenue. We received our bill dated May 1st, and it was showing we used 12,200 cubic feet of water with a $1,095.45 bill. We called because we thought maybe our meter was wrong. And after I spoke with the woman in the office who said she had seen the bill, saw that it was extremely high from our normal bill. And I think she said she reran it or checked it. I don't know the right terminology. She said we probably have a leak. And that it wouldn't be a problem with the meter because it would just stop. But she did say we could have someone from the water department come to our home. And we got the bill on either the 3rd or the 4th of May, and we got our mail very late. And I called on the 5th, and we made arrangements. I think I called again on the 6th, and we made arrangements to have a representative from the water department come down and check our meter. He checked our meter. He said the meter was fine, had us do some things in the house to try and determine where the leak was. We did find the leak, and that was on May 9th. We were able to get a plumber in to repair the problem that day. $140. Our concern is that because the bill goes from September 13th, 2021 to March 7th, 2022, we didn't get the bill until May, which is, I know when they come out, but between the 7th of March and then May 9th, our meter was still running like it was gonna blow up. Unbelievable. We're asking for a variance to get some money that would be taken off the bill that we will be receiving, I believe, from March 8th to September, I don't know the date, and we'll receive that bill, I believe, in November. And we are asking if we can have a variance and have some of the costs removed as because of those 2 months. the bill is going to run extremely high.
We have already, hi, well, my name is Bob Westernoff. We have already paid the large bill because we had to have it done, paid for by today.
And the
So
leak
the-
was in our house, so we knew it was ours, so we knew we had to pay it.
So we knew that that was gonna be taken care of. What we're asking for is, as my wife said, to take care of some of that bill after March 7th.
That we did.
I don't want to criticize the water department. I think they do a phenomenal job. They take care of our needs and our water and all that, but I personally, I think it was not. I don't want to say responsible or whatever, but I think it would have been nice if somebody had called us and said, hey, your bill is 4 times more than what it usually is.
Either that or sent us a note, because I'm sure you have letterhead and everything, and we could have called and started the process way back.
Yeah, back in March, we could have taken care of that. And
Save us some money.
we are on set income because we're both retired. We have to deal with, at some point, digging up our backyard, and if anybody's had to have that done, knows what that's gonna cost to dig it up and have to replace that piping. That's gonna be another huge bill on our part. We were, as my wife said, we had a plumber come in at $140 who put in a valve so I could literally shut off that water on the inside of the house. So we don't have that leak going on anymore. But, I'm sorry, I'm somewhat disappointed that we didn't get a call for this.
Or a note of some kind.
But as my wife said, if we could get some kind of help on the side of the next bill, we would really appreciate that.
Okay.
So during the public hearing, we don't respond to that. We'll put it in the next meeting agenda,
Okay.
and then they'll vote.
And that's once a month.
So we have your information. I'll have Jerry, our current clerk, do the calculation. It is a known leak, so it's not an unaccounted for amount. What we can do is we can give you a credit on the sewer side because we know it was a leak into the ground. And we'll figure out an adjustment for the next meeting.
I realize you must have all the records of what we paid in the past, but I actually made a list of our last.
So what they do is they go back and they do an average, and then they'll do a half of the difference. So 50-50 with the homeowner. That's what they normally do.
Now, at that next meeting, do we need to come here to hear what that answer is? Will you
No.
respond to us?
No, we'll vote on it and then you'll get a response from the staff.
All right.
You would share your analysis with them?
Yeah, we can forward it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, the parlance, when they make it, they call it a goodwill adjustment, just in case, that's the right term to,
And I'll apologize to Joe and to Don in particular, because he got
Been on the phone.
to hear my frustration last week when you wanted.
Okay.
No
I
problem.
apologize. It's just frustrating. We've had some other major bills hit us. She just went over some major surgery, which we had some bills, so to have this come in on top of all that, just sort of was the icing on the cake.
Well,
It was the cake with nothing in it.
So
And-
the
and I-
director did address appropriately, he's gonna push it through. And we know it didn't go into the sewer, which is an enormous portion of what we do,
Right.
right? So we know that the break was between the house and the garage, right? And we know that it didn't go in the sewer.
Yeah.
He's got your card.
Right.
And he's been fighting for monthly to quarterly or quarterly, monthly,
Right.
to get this back. It's been ongoing and it's been a battle with a
Right.
lot of due diligence.
That certainly, if it was quarterly. we certainly-
Well, absolutely. Yeah, we've been fighting
Correct.
that battle for at least 5 years to go quarterly.
You always fight sit here.
Well, that's the problem, is that the WPCA and this board has been saying for at least 5 years that we should bill quarterly, and stuff like this will come up much more quickly And, you know, as you say, we're fighting City Hall. However, I do believe that when July first comes around, we are going to quarterly billing. So things like this will
My-
hopefully,
My only, yeah, that would be a great help, but I would ask you to consider the next time you see something like that. As my wife
I
said,
mean,
just
it's just so big. It's
just have one of your clerks, just send a quick note. That doesn't take much to send a quick note to the address, so that we can address it right away instead of letting it continue on. If we were not, if we didn't get the call, let's say we were up in Vermont and we got the call, we could have had our neighbors, my family come in and find out what's going on. Our house could have been totally flooded.
You know, especially
I
with
mean,
that.
think about that. Would
No,
you
I,
like to
I
come-
understand that. I mean, that has happened where people have gone away or the house has been vacant and pipe freezes and the
Well,
basement gets flooded.
Yeah, but,
And we may not know until
we
after
don't
the
know
fact.
until we do the reading.
yeah, but you did the reading in March.
Yeah.
We didn't get we didn't know anything until May. That's
One of the
2
due
months.
diligence items in the discussion for quality assurance, quality control was in fact a reprogramming of our systems to accommodate quarterly, but also to take a review to see if we can actually program it to see if it can actually tell us if we have any hotspots that need to be addressed. So we're working on that.
Well, I would say
Thank you.
this now,
That would be very good. and we
now
would
I-
appreciate it.
now I know how to read that meter a little bit better. I will read it all the time,
Yes,
be on top of it.
yes, we have checked it quite often now.
So, thank you for letting us come in
Okay.
and thank you for hearing us.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Okay, I'm gonna close the public portion of the meeting. Open under reports, minutes and correspondence. I'll receive the minutes of the regular meeting of May 5th. What's your pleasure?
We
I'll
have,
make a motion that we pass, that we accept the minutes of May 5th as was changed and updated that we received, I believe, yesterday.
Second?
I will second that with a friendly amendment that I believe we got the latest revision today,
Yeah,
Okay,
not yesterday.
yeah.
whatever.
Well, I had so many meetings, but I read it
Right.
and I was in agreement with those minutes. They were more accurate.
Okay, it was moved by Phil Pacina and seconded by David Bauer to pass the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I would ask for one revision. On the last page of the minutes, I was incorrectly referred to as Councilman Bauer when I made the motion to adjourn. And that's a little like stolen valor, so I'd ask that to be changed.
Okay,
So with that exception,
okay, so with that exception, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. You also have the minutes of the special meeting of May 5th. What's your pleasure?
move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second?
Second, Councilman Pacina.
It's been moved by
Not Councilman David.
not
Bauer.
Councilman David Bauer and seconded by Councilman Phil Pacina that we approve the minutes of the special meeting of May 5th. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. We also have a letter from the director that's informational on the sewer rates. We've all read that.
this was, added to the city website and, it was also read into the council, I believe, at the last meeting.
Yes, it does.
Okay, move to transfer and fund balance updates, the monthly fund balance report for May of the water.
Mr. Chair, just
Yes.
as a point of personal privilege, the mayor assured me that as far as our vacancy goes, that he has an appointment to fill the current vacancy on WPCA
Okay,
at the council meeting next Monday. Just wanted to make the
Okay.
WPCA aware of that.
Great.
okay.
Monthly fund balance report for, May 24th, 2022. The cash balance was $3,399,738.54, up from last year quite a bit, 2,163,416.83. So collections going well. And also will be that in the report, the delinquent collections report coming up.
Okay.
On the sewer side, the cash balance as of May 24th, 2022 is $4,213,373.66. That is slightly down from where we were a year ago, but it's still within acceptable parameters.
Does that include the loan?
No, not yet.
Balance? Okay,
No. So the loan will be going to the council on Monday.
okay. Just curious. And collections and delinquents report.
We received this from the tax collector, updated collections report. As you can see, we have April and May and a portion of March were additional collections.
Perfect.
On the second page, she did break it down by month, so 60,000 roughly for April and 25,000 for May, for a grand total since November of 21 of $526,000, which is, I believe, extremely good news.
Yes.
Perfect. Keep up the good work. Consumption report?
I asked Brian to make some changes after the last meeting. So as you can see in the chart, we did change the June date to June 22nd, 22. And also I asked Brian to give us a little more detail on the chart. So what he did was he took an average, monthly average, because you have the semi-annual that kind of mess you up.
Mhm.
And he plotted the 12 points on the chart. So you have a little better understanding of what's happening with the water and the sewer consumption.
Mr. Chair, I did review, and I'd be glad to share with the staff, but, over at the district, one thing I rather like the way that the Mattabesett district reports their flows is they use a 5-year average, and they'll give the 5-year average going forward year by year. And that evens out some of the significant events. And I think I think it reads better understanding what the real flow trends are when you have that moving 5-year average. I'd be glad to share the Mattabesett methodology and reporting and see if that might be useful.
You can see we have, when I do my budget, I include past 3 years for an average. But if you look in here, you'll see that there's a yearly total and then there's an average, annual average showing up on the far right column. So you got your yearly totals and then you have your average. Like 164, 601,000 cubic feet for a sewer. And those are the numbers that I use for the budget to determine the rates based upon our consumption, based upon what our budget is, and use those numbers to come up with the rate. So we had the increase this year that was included in that calculation. So I don't know if the 5-year works for Mattabesett. I don't know if the 5-year would work for us. Well, I mean, you can follow along the annual average and you can see, each year where the changes are.
I'd be glad to share the analysis with the staff. We want to just
Take a look. We'll take a look. At it.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
go.
that's interesting what David just offered to the director, and once the director gets it, he shares with the members of the WPCA so that we can look at how they do the averages also. It'll just help us better understand and explain to the public in a much easier manner. And it might be something that Director Vecino may use or may not. But I would surely love to see that.
Okay. Anything further? Okay, move on to old business. I, Basin 25, 26, 27.
Brian, do you want to give us an update on that?
Sure. Wright Pierce continued to work on 20 subbasins 25 and 26. They completed almost all of, they had 200 manholes slated for inspection. I think all but 20 at this point are inspected. And some of them are paved over or they're in easements where our crew has to help them locate the manholes. So we're almost done with that. And next Monday, their TV crew will be on site for probably 2 weeks to video inspect some of the sewer mains that were highlighted in the report. So by the end of June, all the field work should be complete, and they'll start preparing the report and recommendations for any repairs. Prime AE has finished all the field work in subbasin 27, and they're working on their report and recommendations right now.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. Okay. We have a resolution, water fund loan update.
The resolution went to the council clerk. She had some modifications recommended, some modifications to the resolution. I just had Dina provide it to you for your information.
Okay.
I mean, basically, it's the same, it's just a little bit more legal as far as the description. Wherefore is worth hours and all that stuff.
Okay,
But basically, we are borrowing $1 million from the water fund, which we talked about earlier. And that'll be going into the sewer fund as a loan to be paid back by June of next year, 2023.
right, okay.
So
Okay,
that's just for your information.
okay. New business, a goodwill adjustment for 6163 South Main Street.
Jerry has that in your packet. Customer has paid the bill in full and is requesting the goodwill adjustment. The meter and you can see the meter was checked, and when we do a check, we basically go out there to make sure that the meter's still working and recording flow. And we don't take it out all the time and send it out to be tested. When we do send it out to be tested, 99.9% of the time, there's nothing wrong with the meter. So you can see the spike in consumption. They also had a large bill, which was 14,600 cubic feet. And they requested a goodwill adjustment of, after Jerry did the averages, he calculated $625.35. Of that, $211.52 for water, $413.83 for sewer, for that total of $625.35 goodwill adjustment.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept the goodwill adjustment for 61-63 South Main Street for the total of $625.35 be approved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by,
Second.
yep, motion was made by David Bauer and seconded by Jack Piper to approve the goodwill adjustment of $625.35 for 6163 South Main Street. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. So carried. Goodwill adjustment for 35 Dewey Street.
I don't have the backup, but I do have Jerry's letter for Dewey Street. Customer claims to have no leaks per the letter, and they made the 50% criteria of paying their bill. And the calculation for the refund is based upon the average 2,700 cubic feet And that was a rebate for water of $89.27. On the sewer side, it was $174.59 for a total of $263.86 goodwill adjustment.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion, that, a goodwill adjustment for 35 Dewey Street, in the total amount of $263.86 be made.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Councilman Pacino.
It was moved by David Bauer, seconded by Councilman Pacina, that we approve the goodwill adjustment of $263.86 for 35 Dewey Street. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Staff reports, Durham Water Project.
Brian, would you like to give the update?
Sure. So we are getting closer. Over the past month, the contractor paved the driveways to the meter building, the booster station, and the new tank. So the majority of the paving is done. They started or continued to troubleshoot some of the SCADA issues we have. They believe they're close to getting communications working. And they did make some final connections on Talcott Ridge to our existing water mains. Next week, they'll be working on the Long Hill pump station to start up the chlorine system and the new VFDs for the pumps. The week following that, they'll fill and disinfect the new storage tank. And right now, we're shooting for June 23rd to start service to Durham.
What's the date of that? Sorry, Mr. Chair.
June 23rd is the tentative date right now.
Whoopee.
Yeah.
Okay. David?
I just wondered, do you anticipate any anomalies or difference in the flow once you start the filling and the delivery process in that area of town?
The flow in our part of the system will be similar. There's not a lot of, right now, there's not a lot of demand from the Durham system. It's around 30,000 gallons a day, which isn't really significant for us. We're hoping that over the summer, those increase.
So everybody on that side of town that steps into the shower won't really feel a difference.
No, they won't.
Perfect.
Great job, Brian. Great job.
The other thing is that the school and Durham Manufacturing, those large users will be able to connect after the tank is online. So the demand for the schools and the Durham Manufacturing Corporation, those flows will go up because of the existing Durham system is feeding them now, and they didn't have the quantity to connect at that time. So we're waiting for the tank to go online so that they can make those final connections. And also then you'll have your fire protection, all the fire hydrants will have the bags taken off.
Beautiful.
Well, all the way back, we advocated for the school to be connected because then they finally get sprinklers and it's a public safety issue. So I'm glad to hear it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bemidja Pond Project.
We did get the purchase order in place, working with Public Works and purchasing. So we have that complete, and the contractor will be giving us a notice to proceed date. We're working with them as they're finishing up Durham. They can start procuring, submitting shop drawings and getting ready to do the Bemidja project. So we did have a pre-construction meeting, and now we'll have another pre-construction meeting with PD and fire and everybody, utility companies, once we get closer to establishing a start date. So I'm assuming that he'll probably want to start after Durham is done, so sometime in July.
That Ludlow?
Ludlow.
Joe, we tentatively discussed with Ludlow the week after the 4th of July holiday.
perfect.
Okay. Good. Anything further?
I have nothing else.
Before we adjourn, I have one document I just want to share with you, because I came across this for an entirely different reason, but it looks like this is something that this department does annually report. And if the department does make annual statements like that, I think I would appreciate as a member of WPCA to see a copy of annual reports like this. I just came across this, and the Department of Public Health says that every water system is supposed to make this annual report.
Don, as a past regulatory manager, does this look familiar?
But I'm just saying, if we have information like that,
Isn't that what
you know,
that booklet that gets mailed to everybody, doesn't that cover that?
Not in entirety. That's more water quality.
Oh, okay.
That's,
and I'm just saying that if the department goes to the trouble of assembling these reports for one body, if they shared them with the WPCA, that would just be a good education thing.
Never seen it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay.
This could be for the private water companies. And it would have been a DPUC pure activity through DPH. Right, because they go through a number of very strenuous reports every year that we do not. So the Connecticut Water Company, the Aquarian Water Company, that are investor-owned and private, have a significant amount of reporting that public municipalities do not. This would have been certainly very simple for us to, we have similar documents to this that go in that are separate.
we do monthly reports to the state.
Yeah, I'm just saying that when the department goes through the trouble of creating this data,
Mhm.
some of it I think would be worthwhile to share with the WPCA.
So there's a separate document that deals with the contact information that we submit. There's a separate document that deals with the consumer connections and service area information. And then there are significantly more documents that deal with the sources of supply with our monthly reporting, our quarterly reporting, and our annual reporting, and our water supply plans. So,
Yeah, I just pulled that out as an example, but I'm just saying, maybe, when you've taken the trouble to create that data and just to go ahead and share it.
Well, we do share that data with finance in their annual report as far as like miles of water main, number of connections, all that similar information is in the city
Annual report.
annual report.
Well, that's cool. I just found it and I just said, maybe if you, this is data that already exists in its, final form. Maybe to just share a little, maybe some that would be useful.
Okay. Anything further?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
along with David's thinking, I just like what you just said, Joe. We know how many roads we have here in the city of Middletown. But when we have to raise the rate like we have this year, if somehow you could get it in the consumer confidence report around that time, people would understand. They don't see what's under the ground. They don't see the intricacy of the sewage and the water piping and all it entails. All they see is the bottom line is when we have to raise something. So I think, as a suggestion, respectfully, that maybe there's a way that your team can formulate information so that the citizens and residents, business owners in town know what's underground and know what you and your team have to deal with on a daily basis, which causes some issues and, with the raising of the rates. Information is a good thing, and especially from your department to the public. I'm just saying, it's just something you can think of and maybe take what David's gonna give you and look at it and maybe formulate something that you could put knowledge-wise into the consumer confidence report that I just received, by the way, which is excellent.
Sure.
Okay?
Consumer
Thank you, Joe.
confidence is a DPH requirement and a federal requirement for water quality and only water quality for only the water utility. But the councilman speaks well of an annual report that we've been talking about for quite a long time.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, the councilman's comments are exactly the direction I hope we go, that this information is there, and perhaps if we have some of it, maybe we can, being outside members of the public, we can even help craft, some of what I'd call it the outreach to the community, to the water and sewer customers. To tell them what our story is here, and maybe put a little more of a useful narrative behind the bills they have to pay. So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking we could probably be useful that way if we had more data to work with.
We normally do that in the pipeline newsletter. We give them information.
okay.
We have that also on the website. And like I said, there's a lot of areas that need to be looked at to be pulled together. Take a look at the city website under water and sewer. We have many pages. Brian updates it periodically. And then, like you said, Phil, the explanation that I gave to the council was included in the website, and it was read into the minutes for the year rates. So that information is there. It's just, people have to do a little homework.
Yeah,
Do a
yeah.
little research. And then we also do the annual report for the state, for the city's financial report. So all that information is out there. It's just letting people know. And we can add that to the newsletter when we do the pipeline. We try to do updates as much as possible.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Through the chair.
Yeah.
I've never seen that document before. It's never been asked for us to produce it, although I've been out of the manager regulatory and technical affairs job for probably 3 years now. So I can check with Teresa Spalletta to see if this is a new document that's been requested. I see that they're looking for service connections, and that does look like the information that was required for the new copper and lead rule, which is being completed through promulgation right now. So that may be a new document that we are in fact providing.
Okay.
Yeah, I just stumbled across it as an example.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if it's a good time, may I make a motion to adjourn?
It's a perfect time, David. Second? Jack, second.
Second.
It was moved by David Bauer, seconded by Jack Piper, that we adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Scott?
Stay healthy and safe, everyone.
You can have both.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Recorder up first. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, Joe.
I'm gonna be very polite about it.
We should have given it time though.
I wrote it down.
7:42.
7:42.
The last one was 7:41.
Oh, well,
Okay.
Scott,
That's right.
when we talked about this.
If I could get David not to talk so much, we would